You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AfterBuzz TV's WWE Monday Night Raw After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's WWE Monday Night Raw After Show.
Yeah. Yes, 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 yes. Come on, Dale, get in with this. Yes, 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 yes. We hope to be just a little bit over like Daniel Bryan was tonight in Brooklyn. Welcome to the Raw After Show on AfterBuzz TV. I am your humble guest host, Johnny LaQuasto. And, you know, this week we don't have the beautiful, intelligent Cathy Kelley. We don't have the smooth-shaven, handsome, debonair Josh Padgett, which means our viewers are about to go down. But that's all right. We have a great show. Across from me, you can find him on Twitter at TheWalkingDale, which you should like him already just for that clever phrase.
That might be the coolest Twitter handle ever.
Way better than my lame-ass Twitter handle. What's up, Dale Rutledge?
How's it going, everybody?
Thanks for being here wearing the Age of Orton t-shirt.
Yes, indeed. I had to represent my Money in the Bank dude.
Hey, at any point, you could RKO either me or Clum.
Yeah.
And it's going to go.
If it comes to it, we just might.
And the resident general manager of the Raw AfterBuzz show, Ryan Clum. What's up, my friend?
Not much. How are you doing? Thank you for coming in. I'm very excited to have you in here.
You know, I'm on an RVD contract here at AfterBuzz TV.
Are you?
Yeah. Kathy asked me to come in, and unfortunately, I haven't been able to for a while. Right. So I sat on the couch last time. If you remember, I wore a vest and a pink tie.
You're in the big boy chair now.
I'm in the big boy chair. Feels good. You know, no one can fill the seats. No one can fill the shoes of Cathy Kelley or the previous host of the show, Smiley Katz.
I'm sure you look great in her shoes, though.
Yeah, I would. My calves are not that strong, so like in heels, they really they make them look good. So, man, there are a few things in wrestling life better than the Monday Night Raw after a pay-per-view.
Yes, that's the truth.
And let's be honest, neither disappointed. Pay-per-view was great. Monday Night Raw was pretty damn solid.
I liked Raw better than the pay-per-view.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't love the I didn't hate the pay-per-view, but to me, there was just missing that one special thing.
Really?
Last night. Yeah.
I thought, man, I really enjoyed the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
What was the one thing that you didn't?
You know what I think it is Money in the Bank is like one of those pay-per-views that's where Punk ran off into the crowd, like those amazing moments happen, and I felt like it was just another pay-per-view. Maybe I built it up too much in my mind.
Well, moments like Punk running into the crowd, running away with a belt. That's
not going to happen too often.
I know, but Money in the Bank seems to be one of those ones where special stuff happens, like a Royal Rumble or a Mania or a SummerSlam. Like you're going to see some go off the air with a surprise twist, and nothing really happened. I wasn't happy with the with Mark Henry tapping out.
Oh, I hated that.
Yeah.
Hated that with a passion.
And I thought the best two matches were the first two. So
yeah, I agree with that, but I did love the Heyman turn on Punk, though. I mean, that was definitely the moment of the night, I think.
Yeah, and at first, it's funny. I was watching that
tonight.
I was watching. I was like, did Punk just blade himself? And then I saw the picture on Twitter. I'm like, nope, that was a ladder.
He laddered himself.
13 staples, but Raw was fantastic. I mean, all the way through. I think we thoroughly enjoyed it. I think everyone watching Brooklyn loved it.
Yeah,
Brooklyn did
was
love
pretty
it.
hot tonight.
I mean, the only thing that could have made it better is if Cena called out the Brooklyn Brawler as his opponent for SummerSlam.
Yes, or at least made a reference to him. He was standing there.
He was right there.
I guess we'll get to that part.
He was right behind Khali. How do you not call out the Brooklyn Brawler in Brooklyn? He's more popular than any member of the Nets. How do you not call out the Brooklyn Brawler?
That actually might be true.
Oh, without a doubt. Like, who gives a shit about Brooke Lopez when Brooklyn Brawler's standing on the stage?
I think Cena was just distracted by the fact that this was the first night of the Brad Maddox era.
Oh, yes.
So that would distract anyone, I feel.
I thought Brad did a good job.
Tonight he did. Last night, last night
last night's was a little rough, but
about 45 seconds too long. Which is 45 seconds more than what Philadelphia wanted to give him.
Right.
So,
but being his first night on Raw, though, I thought he did a really strong job. I mean, they gave him some great stuff to work with, too.
Yeah. Started off the show. Brad Maddox in the ring comes out to a. Can we call it a pop? I don't know.
I'm not sure what you call it.
He comes out to a reaction.
He comes out to a reaction. Yeah.
Exactly. Makes the match of Dolph Ziggler versus ADR rematch. You know, we're all excited to see that. And then, of course, John Cena comes down to the ring, and Brad Maddox allows him to pick
his opponent. And Brad Maddox also said that he's determined to be the greatest general manager of all time.
Yeah,
I'm sure that'll be the asterisk by his name.
Right.
Absolutely. And 100%.
Maddox's only frame of references are Vicky and Mike Adamle. So the bar is high for Brad Maddox. Now, what were your thoughts when he came out and Cena was like, "All right, I'm going to pick my own opponent"? And Maddox like, "Yeah, go ahead and do that."
I'll tell you one thing I loved was John Cena said, "Who am I going to pick? Am I going to pick Doc Hendricks? Am I going to pick Dutch Mantel?"
Yeah.
I love those little references because Doc Hendricks, I believe that was Michael PSA's, right? Was that was that his?
I know Dutch Mantel is good old Zeb.
Zeb Coulter,
Which is great.
I believe, which I meant to look up. But
am I going to pick the Iceman King Parsons? Who knows?
Cena will pull out that old school knowledge though every once in a while. I like that he kind of throws it out there.
Yeah,
that'd be funny if he's like, "Am I gonna pick the prototype?" and he like calls out his old name.
Oh yeah, I actually pitched to Smile once. I would love to see them do a one-off Raw from an alternate universe.
Okay.
Where, you know, supposedly every decision you make is that there's another universe where we go to a universe where the biggest heel in the world is the prototype, and we just see all the different characters where they could have been. The announcer is Phil Brooks. He never became a wrestler, and he's a drunk.
Okay.
You know, so we'll see these different. Just a one-off. Let's do this. You could do this goofy thing. It was just an idea.
Just 17 people would love that.
Yeah,
and we'd be all on board.
All the fans of Friends.
I would love it. Yeah, exactly.
We'd be all on board. But Maddox got some serious camera time in the opening segment. You know, Cena comes out. He's like, "You could pick your own opponent." And then, of course, Randy Orton comes out. He flexes nuts, has the briefcase. And, you know, they tease maybe Cena.
And he came down with a purpose, too.
Yeah,
when he was coming down, we're sitting there going, is he going to come cash in right now?
Yeah.
He's coming down with a purpose.
Right.
But I like this quote though. He was saying, basically giving Cena a heads up, like he'll never see it coming. Like this is my warning to you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when your nickname's the Viper, you're not going to come down and here I am.
Yeah. You know what I mean? I hope this is the lead to him turning heel though, because he's so strong as a heel and he's been just kind of not doing a whole lot lately. So I'd love to get some momentum and get him in the title reign.
He's been stagnant.
Yeah.
And I loved how he said, "I'm not going to make the same stupid mistake you did last year and say when I'm going to do it."
Which is great.
And he said, "I'm going to be straight up with you. You're never going to see it coming when I cash that in."
Which is fantastic. And I'll tell you what, when that does happen, whoa, it's going to go off.
Yeah.
Whatever stadium they're in or whatever college town, wherever it is, it's gonna go off.
And to me, even over the last couple of weeks, that with these promos that Randy's done about, you know, if I'm gonna win that thing and I'm gonna cash it in the first chance I get, has made the title mean more to me. Like there's another guy outside of the title picture, you know, and everyone should be talking. And to me, everyone on the roster should be talking about the title. Yeah. The Usos should be saying, "I want to be WWE champion."
Yeah, exactly.
And you got Randy chomping at the bit.
Something. Yeah.
So it's nice.
And I think Randy Orton. I mean, I was a little surprised that he won the briefcase. Then the more I thought about it, I was like, you know what though, he needed it because he had nothing going on. I still say my dream scenario is that we all know Jake the Snake Roberts is at the accountability crib, getting healthy, getting clean.
He did fall off the wagon a couple weeks ago.
He did? I didn't know that.
He fell off the wagon. He's back on. They're getting him, but he fell off the wagon.
How did DDP let him get out of his eyesight?
I don't know, but they've done some videos.
Is Scott Hall still?
I think Scott's all good
on the up and up.
But Jake had a few drinks from what I understand.
A few drinks. All right, we'll deal with that.
They said it wasn't drugs. It wasn't anything.
Okay.
He got drunk.
That's Josh Hamilton style. We'll take a few drinks. That's fine. But
DDP
Jake is coming back.
One more time, he's in rehab. So.
Okay, but he's getting healthy. Tell me an amazing dream scenario would not be Jake the Snake Roberts teaming up with the Viper Randy Orton. Jake the Snake being his voice, because Orton's not the greatest talker.
Right.
Who's one of the best talkers of all time?
Jake. Yeah.
That'd be
standing ovation.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah.
No one was ever so scary just talking like this.
Yeah. In an era where everyone was like, let me tell you something.
Yeah. He was the opposite.
Yeah.
That's true.
You almost couldn't hear what he was saying sometimes, and it was so scary.
And I bet you as a wrestler, you probably watch promos from guys like him all the time because you could learn by watching.
Oh yeah, I love watching old the Hot Times by Dusty Rhodes.
Oh, dude,
that's one of my favorites.
The promo on Ric Flair?
Yeah, if you guys haven't seen, just go type in Hard Times, Dusty Rhodes, one of the greatest promos of all
from
time.
Like '86. It was a not Mid-South, but it was like
Texas, or I think it was
somewhere around there. But man, that was a great promo on Ric Flair.
Amazing.
Oh boy,
amazing.
But anyway, we're getting off. We're dipping back. Present day, 2013. Randy Orton comes out to the ring, and obviously he has the briefcase. He states his case. Then of course, who comes out? I don't know if we don't have the sound effect. Fandango. I'm not going to try to pronounce his name correctly. He comes out, and actually Brooklyn kind of brought back the Fandango.
They did. They were
first
into
time.
They were hot for that, for sure.
Who wouldn't be?
Well, the London crowd kind of kicked it all off, I felt like, after. So it's been petering out, but tonight Brooklyn brought it back.
You could always count on the Brits to get something cool going in front of a live audience. And Brooklyn was all about it tonight. Fandango came out, and of course he said he wants the title, and Orton decides to beat the crap out of him.
And they do the little thing with he's trying to explain his name to Cena, and Cena's playing it off. It was fun. It was fun. Yeah. This was like a 12-minute long segment, and which can be a bit long sometimes, but this actually moved along quickly. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and Randy wasn't really having it either. Like he delivered a stiff shot to him, and then the match got away, and he just didn't let him go there for a while.
And Fandango, man, he sells that character. I mean,
yes, he does.
He could back it up too. I mean, the flip he did off the ladder at the pay-per-view.
Oh,
damn.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got a lot of good stuff in there.
It's a fantastic moment.
Yeah.
And
but we got the match right away.
Yeah. And,
Brad made the match. So you guys want to get into this?
Let's do it.
You guys wrestle right now.
Yep.
Orton Fandango.
What I do love about Maddox is he has that thing, that unpredictability to his character, almost like you mentioned with from the Shield. I can't think of his name right now.
Ambrose.
Ambrose. He's the Dean Ambrose style to him. Where like with Ambrose, you don't know which way he's going, what he's saying. With Maddox, he almost looks like he's confused at all times. So you don't know if what is coming out of his mouth is what he plans to say.
He's very funny.
He's hilarious, and that's what I love about him. He makes you think like, oh my God, he may not know what to say here. And that's what I really enjoy about Maddox. I don't know how long this whole GM thing's gonna last, but I love to see a guy like that who is a lot more creative.
Yeah.
Than a lot of guys.
Do you remember when he made it? It was when it was going to be the big Cena Punk match and rematch, and he was on the app saying, "Yeah, I made a match today. I made the main event. We're going to have an in the ring match with CM Punk and John Cena." Like, wait, wasn't that already made? Like,
he's classic on YouTube.
Brilliant. Yeah.
And so I was still surprised that I thought they would have like maybe waited a couple weeks to like name a GM and really tease it for a while. But the fact that Vince right there, said, "You're the new GM," I was like, "Wow, we're in a microwave society."
And this could be 3 weeks too. I mean, the way they set it up.
That's true.
You could just fire him next week if you wanted to. So if this isn't working out,
which we'll get into with the backstage segment later on in the show. So overall, first segment, I thought it was a good start.
I did too.
Absolutely.
Then, of course, we moved on to backstage. AJ Lee.
Well, we had the actual match itself too.
Oh, Fandango and Orton.
Yeah, we went right into that.
There's some interesting chants happening in the crowd there. I mean, again, this is Brooklyn, but they had "Let's Go Randy," but they also had a Santino chant and
Santino chant, Randy Savage chant.
Hey, there should be a Randy Savage chant at every show, as far as I know.
There should be.
Truth.
And Randy was bleeding in this too. His finger. I don't know what that was from, but he had that bloody finger.
Anybody that was in those ladder matches yesterday, I'm surprised they're all not popping up
all cut
today
up.
anyway.
You're right. It's probably something from last night.
Punk and RVD took some serious shots.
Yeah, they both had 13 staples, I think.
Welcome back, RVD.
We had the DDT from the buckle, which we were saying we've never seen him do it from the buckle. It's usually from the ropes.
He had a hell of a superplex. I mean,
yes, that superplex is a thing of beauty.
And obviously you are a wrestler. I work in wrestling, but I don't go near the ring. I do,
Yeah, you try to stay away from that.
I have respect, and I'm also a physical therapist, so like when I watch matches, man, it terrifies me.
Yeah.
When I see what you guys do, and when I see moves like, like you said, the superplex.
I've never taken a superplex. It terrifies me. I will. I'm sure I will take one at some point. But standing on the top rope is scary.
It's
frightening.
And you both need crazy core strength to pull it off, and if you don't,
Yeah, and I mean, just standing up there is scary. For me, like you stand up and look at the mat, your head's 10 feet in the air. look to your left and look at the floor. And it's like, oh my God, if I go that way, I'm dead. It's a bit scary.
Yeah, it really is. And, that's why I am amazed when, guys like when Brock did the superplex to Big Show. I mean, God, the fact that Big Show can do at his size, to do a superplex. I mean, come on. It's just amazing.
Oh, yeah, it's just stuff like when RVD last night did the frog splash. We wanted him to go up, he just went down.
Beautiful.
Because there's no I wouldn't go up that high.
Yeah, you're already
it's
up there.
crazy. Yeah. Some of the stuff those guys do is nuts.
Well, one of these days, Clum.
One of these days.
You're going to get in that ring and say, tonight is the night.
Oh, I'll trust. No, someone else will say, tonight is the night. It won't be my decision.
You're like, okay.
Can we run it? Can we run it a few times? No? Okay, great. Let's just see what happens. Gets it up to God. All right.
Yeah, no, you don't practice those things. You just do them.
But yeah, Orton Fandango, good first match. I mean, entertaining. And, obviously Orton goes over big time.
Yes.
We go backstage. AJ Lee and Dolph Ziggler. I'm going to miss these two. I don't think it's over. But what happens?
Well, AJ's all upset over
pleading her case,
pleading her case, and Dolph says, "Hey, babe, I'm not mad.
Yeah,
it's time to move on."
He was pretty pissed last night.
Yeah, he was pretty pissed. He said, "I'm done being mad. It's just time to move on." And she got all excited and gave him a big hug, and he said, "No, you don't understand. It's time to move on.
Bye-bye.
We're done."
Yeah, hit the skids.
Hit the skids.
You're
hit the
outta
skids,
here.
psycho.
See ya, toots.
Yeah, see it. You're a good dame, but we'll see you later.
Which we've been waiting for this, but I actually, when this segment started, didn't think they'd break up here. I was
Not right now. Yeah.
It's too fast.
Yeah, but I liked it. I loved the fact that they broke up there.
Yeah.
I loved it.
And I found it interesting. I think that's the first time a male wrestler has ever been knocked out by a Divas Championship. So I thought that was interesting in the pay-per-view. Now, my first question
Especially
was...
since the Divas Championship's only been around a couple of years.
Yeah. I think it's the first time. My first question is, does the Divas Championship count as a foreign object? But apparently it does, because that got him DQ'd. Yeah, it definitely does.
Oh, yeah.
It definitely does.
But, I mean, AJ she's just fantastic. Great performer. Ziggler's awesome. And so, yeah, the breakup was pretty quick.
Yeah, they've been really great working together, and it'll be fun to see them in this little thing against each other. This could be some fun storytelling stuff.
It is. And then, of course, Caitlyn, they didn't really push that along. But
No, we didn't see her at all,
We didn't see Caitlyn at all tonight.
No,
yeah.
Maybe Caitlyn, my guess is Caitlyn AJ is going to be done. Caitlyn will move on to her next thing. Probably Caitlyn Layla, it sounds like.
God, I was going to say, Layla probably had the most pointless appearance at the pay-per-view.
Yeah, because supposedly they're teasing this.
I feel like they're putting
turning, right?
I feel like they're putting Layla out there just to get even more. People are booing Caitlyn, and then when Layla comes out, they're like, "Oh, come on!" Like, no one really, anyone over 9 is just not really into it. Which
Right.
I
mean, listen, they have the Diva show coming out soon on E.
Sure,
I feel like there's going to be at least some good fodder there to throw into the storyline, and maybe even have it continue on to the show. I don't know how they'll be able to work it, but at least it's something there for them to do.
Yeah. Actually, apparently there's a chant tonight for Big E's boobies, from what we're being told.
I didn't catch that one. I didn't catch Big E's boobies.
Good call by the Gooch, because we did not know that was going to happen. But yeah, so they are broken up, and we'll see what happens. Actually, later on in the show, we know what happens.
Yes, we do.
Moving on, Mark Henry. I do not like how that match ended at the pay-per-view. I'm a huge fan of what Mark Henry did. Yeah.
I don't like the fact that he didn't walk out with the gold, personally. But
I mean, I didn't think he would. I think he should have, but I didn't think he would.
And we see where they're going with SummerSlam with the main event, so I understand that. But I still would have loved to see
what's
Henry.
Mark Henry going to do?
I would have loved to see Henry with the title and see the rematch at SummerSlam. But I mean,
or at least not tap
they
out.
Obviously they have other directions they're going, which I like as well.
Right, and that's the thing. You got to trust. You got to trust the company. You got to trust the writers. I know there's a lot of.
And the fact is, there's only 2 people that can go wrestle for the title, so there's a whole bunch of people we'd like to.
That's the thing, is you want to believe they're making the right decision. But man, Henry, what he's done the past month has been so good. I just hate to see it gone after a month.
And that's what he deserved it. So
yeah, but I mean,
you want to see it.
To his credit, though, to have that amazing build-up in just that quick month turnaround. I mean, that was a really good promo. I mean, he fooled everybody on that Raw.
He had me.
I mean, I was just like, I can't believe this is it. I mean, he definitely. From what he had to work with, he made this whole promo work really well.
That promo he did was, guys like Paul Heyman are always in the moment. Like they're legitimate actors. What Mark Henry did that night was so in the
acting.
moment.
Yeah. I didn't know he had it in tears.
Yeah.
He had big ass.
It was amazing. I pretty much knew the whole time. Like I figured it out because they seeded it the whole time, and just the way it was
with
written.
the Twitter and all that too.
it was written, and why was John Cena out there in the first place? And like if you're really trying to break things down, and which people's like, you ruin movies all the time because you're just breaking things down. Right. Because I have that mind that's trying to break this down. I'm one of those.
I'm a realist, but when it comes to wrestling, I still have that like little childlike where I just want to, I want to
suspension of disbelief, and sometimes I can put that away. Sometimes my mind's working. This was a moment we're doing the show, so my mind's working the whole time. And so I'm like, oh, there's a seed, there's a seed. But it was the best acting performance I've ever seen. It almost got me it was brilliant. Made me start to question myself a little bit.
And that's what I love, is I love seeing stuff like that, because I mean I'm not a wrestler. I come from the stand-up background and the acting and the hosting background. So like I love seeing performances as well as the wrestling.
Yes.
And man, Henry, this past month has been so good.
So good.
So good. And
it hasn't just been the past month. It's whenever he's been on and not hurt the last year.
Yeah, that's true.
Since he started doing the Hall of Pain stuff, that stuff was awesome. Then he got hurt. He was out for a minute. Then he came back, and he was on fire with the Sheamus stuff with the strap match. And he went out a little bit.
And he's got a good sense of humor when he's not trying to be a monster heel. He'll hear the sexual chocolate chants, and he'll. All right.
Well, there was the good one tonight when he comes out, everyone starts chanting, "You tapped out, you." Yeah. He's like, "He tapped you all out too."
Yeah. I love it. I'll make it.
So Henry comes out and basically says he wants a rematch, but of course, Cena's already allowed to make his own opponent. Henry's not happy about it, and then we hear the music of The Shield.
Sierra Hotel, Echo Lima Delta.
Exactly, and then they come down and just go buckshot all over Mark Henry, which I found that as a surprise.
Yeah, and I guess this is a face turn. I'm assuming.
I can't put my finger on it, but if nothing else, it's getting the Shield back to where they need to be, and I feel like they're really strong as a threesome, not this 1 and 2 situation.
And this is a cool way to do it. You're taking him off the, he's going to focus on, I want the title shot. These guys come down, pull his focus off of it. I like it.
What do you think about this? I mean, they came down and beat the holy hell out of Mark Henry. Do you think this might be the reason for Big Show to come down from like the booth, whatever you want to call it?
I don't know.
Because if you recall, they teamed up on the Big Show.
Yeah, I don't know. And what's this going to be? I mean, maybe this will lead to my guess is this will lead to Ambrose and Mark Henry, because you would think he's got to go after one of the guys specific, and he's got the United States title. So
unless it could be Big Show Henry versus Reigns and Rollins.
There's a lot of
Goliath
stuff
versus
do with that.
Flak Jackets.
I think it would have to be a 2-on-3 if you went that route, though.
Probably.
But Henry did good. I mean, he was fighting these guys off for a minute. I mean, he was really until was it Rollins or Ambrose that got up and got him in the sleeper hold, and then Reigns hit the spear to cut him down. But he was holding his own against the Shield for a second, which I thought was really great. How he was getting him down and showing that he's the monster, and then the numbers game was just too much.
Yeah, I think
they got him up.
Yeah, they got him up for that triple power bomb. I cannot believe that. I mean, that is a big man.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Like, good on them.
Way to go, guys. Way to use those quads. So that was, a surprise right there. I didn't think that the day after he loses to John Cena, we'd see the Shield come out and beat him up. I mean,
it was unexpected. That's what I liked about it. I never would have thought this would have happened tonight.
And now that's something we have to look forward to, whether it be SmackDown or Raw. I mean, how's that going to progress?
Yeah, I mean, does that play out all the way to SummerSlam? I don't know if it'll make it that far, but
maybe. I mean, at least, maybe SummerSlam and beyond. I mean,
it has to be something, because I mean, who's going to challenge the Shield for the tag titles now that they beat the Usos? Right. I mean, there's really no one else.
Real Americans is the only body with a little bit of possible momentum, I feel. They're not.
But don't they have to win a match first?
Well, they're barely a tag team at this point.
That's true. That's true.
Poor guys just get rolled up every single time as a team. I mean, and thing is, I don't know. I like Cesaro on his own. I'm one of the few.
No,
I love Cesaro.
I prefer him
Cesaro.
Yeah, big fan of Cesaro. I mean, you and I, we've known the guy for the last, a couple of years working in the Indies and stuff.
Yeah,
and so,
I've never met him personally. But
super nice guy.
Yeah,
I mean, the first show I did with him, he eats nonstop. I mean, the guy is. If you want to look at how you become a natural giant, him. I mean, he showed me this like concoction he makes with like yogurt and chocolate protein and banana. It's like a 50-gram protein yogurt snack. And his favorite, and then in the morning, he's like, my favorite thing in the morning, I wake up, I have a big bowl of cereal, and I put a whole bunch of protein in my chocolate milk. It's like the kind of stuff that most people would hate to do. He loves it.
Huh. Oh, wow.
And so I'm really happy to see he's a guy that totally deserves a lot of success.
Yeah.
And I'd like to think he's going to be in line for a monster push at some point.
Yeah.
No, I think so. And I mean, they were just kind of squandering what he was doing for a while there. I mean, after his initial push, he's been kind of just flat anyway.
Yeah.
So if putting him with Zeb is the answer for now, I'll take it because at least it's some kind of attention.
Yeah.
Whereas he was kind of in that Wade Barrett area where it was just kind of like.
That's the thing. And Swagger and Zeb at this point, everyone's like, okay, we get it. You don't like the Mexicans. You know what I mean? It's like.
Made it very clear at this point.
There has to be something different. Like, okay, traditional marriage. We get it, Zeb.
Yeah.
So I think teaming them up, at least, it could be a formidable tag team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll lead to something else, but I'll take it for now.
Absolutely. Back to Brad Maddox. Next time we have backstage.
Yes.
Brad Maddox, Chris Jericho. Funny little exchange there. Anything with Jericho's good.
Yeah.
Let's be
That
honest.
was quick.
Did you ever think you'd say back to Brad Maddox, by the way?
That's a great point. I did
I
not.
love the fact that you were able to say back to Brad Maddox.
Back to Brad Maddox,
Brad
everybody.
Maddox.
Here we are again with Brad Maddox.
The Mad Ox.
You never know what will happen in the WWE. Like saying back to Brad Maddox. He is backstage with Chris Jericho.
On the phone with his mom, I want to point out. Which
is adorable.
Yeah.
I mean, he would. The way he dressed, it looks like his mom dressed him.
I think so. She definitely shops at Express or something for him. I'm not sure what
Yeah,
that
was it here where he was saying, "Oh, my arms are looking big"?
That is, yeah, it was here.
Was that here?
Yeah.
They're making fun of his shirt being too tight, and
but Jericho ultimately gave him some pretty good lip service. Like after he made the match, RVD
versus Y2J.
Jericho was like, "Good on you, buddy."
And that match turned out to be an instant classic.
Yes.
I mean, that was a great match we'll get to in a little bit. So that was a quick segment. Next, of course, we have ADR, Alberto Del Rio, as Zeb would say, and Dolph Ziggler.
This led us into hour 2 as well. So
hour
this is
2.
The end of hour 1 into hour 2.
I miss Ricardo.
Yeah.
Well,
just
don't
wanted to put
take
that
fat
out.
burners.
That's the thing.
Don't take fat burners when you're not supposed to be.
Here's the deal. Ricardo Rodriguez, dirty. Ryback, totally clean. That's how it works. That's how it works. Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow, yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not saying this I'm saying this from a healthcare perspective. When you work in healthcare long enough, you know when people might be using something.
Put the picture of Ryback up and go to 10 people and go to Ryback. Show a picture of Ryback and Ricardo Rodriguez and go, one of these guys violated the wellness policy.
Right.
Which one is it?
Who would you guess?
Who would have guessed? Popping a Xenadrin gets you 30 days vacation. That's what happened.
Well, if you want a 30-day vacation, you know what to do.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess so.
Speed up that metabolism just a tad.
Be like, it wasn't anything illegal. I just did a fat burner from GNC. And
Here I am.
Hey, you know what? Someone's got to get popped. It might as well be an announcer or a ring announcer, I should say. Personal announcer, whatever. Bottom line is the rematch happened.
Well, I guess, you know what? Since it happened, I haven't seen El Local wrestling down in NXT recently either.
Do you think that's related?
I have no idea.
We're not here to spread rumors, guys. We're just here to talk about the action.
Yes.
We're not starting anything.
Alberto Del Rio and Dolph Ziggler.
Exactly. So the rematch happened, and some really great shots. The famous are from the second rope, and then of course controversy.
I also want to say first, the backdrop he took to the floor was ridiculous. Yeah, because that wasn't like he went all the way up, flatten out, and then took a flat face bump down to the mats. I mean, and dropped. I mean, that's probably a good 10-foot drop.
Easily. And he was dangling up
ropes.
there. I swear he was suspended for a while.
Yeah,
it was
he literally grabbed the rope to stabilize him and went vertical and then just came all the way down. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
even with those nice mats they have, it's still crazy.
It's still never an easy. I mean, you could fall into a bed from that height. You're like, I kind of felt that.
Yeah, I don't want to fall into a pool.
Well, I mean, also that I mean, that's a nice thick mat like that. Then with concrete underneath.
Right.
Doesn't matter. The sleep number is still negative 29.
Yeah. The concrete doesn't move.
Not good to fall on.
There's no give.
So Ziggler hits the famouser from the second rope, and then of course he goes for the pin, in, and we hear 1, 2, and then ding, ding, ding early.
Yeah, and I'm like, what's going on here? Is this? And you know, my first thought was back as a kid, you know, with the time limit running out, we have a time limit draw.
Yeah, right.
That's what I was waiting
for. Like, no!
Ladies and gentlemen, the time limit has run out.
That was the worst.
The officials determined this to be a draw, and I'm like, why?
That was the decision of every house show as a kid. If you recall, every main event of like a house show, I used to go to the Allentown Fairgrounds as a kid, and every main event was like a 20-minute draw, and everyone went home pissed off.
Right, and the thing that always drove me nuts about that as a kid was, you know, they'd say the official has made their decision and it's a draw. Why doesn't the official pick one sometimes?
Yeah.
Because obviously there was an official decision. It's not just time limit draw.
Go to the scorecard.
Somebody did better. Come on.
You know? Go to if they went to instant replay a few weeks ago, can't they go to someone for a scorecard?
They did that at the first Clash of Champions, Sting versus Ric Flair. Remember they had the kid from the Wonder Years, and they had all the
goodness.
That's Jason Hervey. That's now on TNA.
I was gonna say. I don't think you mean Fred Savage.
No. Jason Hervey from TNA, who's now does a lot of stuff in TNA. They had a bunch of celebrity judges, and
loved it.
You know, it went to the judges at the end. It was crazy.
It's no RoboCop that WCW had.
Oh my God!
When he came down and ripped open the steel cage.
Or the Shocker with the Stormtrooper's helmet. But
the Shock Master.
The Shock Master. The Shock Master.
You mean Tugboat? Anyways.
There were some great moves, though. I mean, there was a tornado DDT, neck breaker that kind of blew my mind. You already mentioned the over-the-top rope, but, I mean, this was a really awesome match, and the crowd was definitely into Ziggler for sure, as they have been a lot lately. But
well, the last couple weeks, he's really been struggling to get a pop, and I don't know why. It kind of bothers me that the fans really weren't behind him.
Well,
but I feel like now, I hope they are.
I think part of that is just and I talk about this all the time, booking someone as a heel and a babyface. They were kind of having him babyface, but he was still doing heelish things. He was still doing things as a heel. So it's like Raw last week where they tried to get Daniel Bryan the big yes chance at the end of it, but he came up and beat up 2 baby faces to do it. So everyone was really confused at the end of last week.
They're
so
like,
get the like we don't know what just happened here. This was weird.
How about a maybe? I'll give you a maybe.
Right. And the reason was they wanted that big yes chance, and they needed to get those 2 guys out. So just have them do that. But when you have the babyface attack babyfaces and do heel things, it confuses the audience. You don't have people. You can't get behind them. So
you bring up a great point, which leads to AJ rings the bell, takes off her hood. The ref waves off the end of the match. ADR ends up, kicking him to the head, winning the match. But after the match, you talk about what's obvious now. AJ goes in and basically attacks him,
which is great.
Yeah, just I got flack for this on a podcast maybe a month ago where I mentioned AJ Lee, in my opinion, has already solidified herself as one of the greatest performing females of all time. And I don't necessarily mean in the ring, but on the mic. What female wrestler has been better than her?
Yeah.
No one can touch that. And she comes and she attacks Ziggler, and then Big E.
And she can wrestle.
And she can wrestle. I love me some the Black Widow.
Yeah.
She put me in that any day. I will not tap out.
Have you? I went back and watched. We have people always writing to us, and they kept telling me that I had to go back and watch AJ Lee versus Naomi season 3 of NXT, and I went back and watched. It was a couple years ago. AJ been doing some squats for the last couple of years because her little chicken legs, now she's all thigh, and I mean, there's been a lot of work going on.
She's a hard worker. She wants to be, and Naomi's fantastic, which we'll get to.
We'll get to that.
But AJ Lee wants to be the best, and she's showing that. And credit to Caitlyn for hanging out with AJ because they're putting on one of the best, female storylines in quite a while.
I mean, I think AJ has kind of elevated Caitlyn a little bit.
Without a doubt.
In my opinion, AJ's carrying Caitlyn. I've never been a huge fan of Caitlyn.
But she's getting better, and it's with anything.
I like Caitlyn, but I shouldn't say I'm not a huge fan with her. I think she's a bit green, and I think it comes through when she's not with veterans.
Sure. But that's the thing is, though, it's like with anything, if you want to get better at what you really are passionate about, you want to hang around with people better than you, which is why I'm here with you two. Yeah. Trying to get better. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get to that level.
You did it. You really did it.
Absolutely. I mean, being with somebody in the ring that has, especially if you're someone who's only been doing it for a couple of years, if you can be in someone with the ring with someone who's done it for 10, 15, 20 years, it's a world of difference. I mean, it makes it much easier.
You learn a ton just by watching, by being in there.
Just listen and do whatever they tell you to do.
Yeah. And then, Big E just destroys Ziggler.
When she comes into and she just starts slapping the crap out of him, she just went into crazy mode, and I love the way she played that off.
And what about how she ended it? picking up the head.
Yeah, well, yeah, she's slapping the crap out of him. Ziggler just kind of pushes her off, turns around right into Big E, just
little clothesline, and
clotheslining him. But he dead sold that right after. He was unconscious from that. So where Big E actually picked him up to throw him. Is it the big ending? Is that the name
call
of
it the
this
E5.
I think it's called the big.
Call it the E5.
I think it's the big ending, if I remember correctly.
Big ending sounds right.
So
But
I think that's what it is.
I'll go
One
with
letter
E5.
before the
You
F5.
like the E5? Okay, we'll call it the E5. So he hits him with the E5, but when he picks him up, he's almost dead weight. Hits him with that, and then AJ comes over, pets his head,
Just beautiful.
picks him up, and kisses him on the lips as he's unconscious. It was awesome.
She steals the show.
That was ridiculous.
And what you mentioned earlier was absolutely correct about how now we know what direction Ziggler's going, and he's got a great enough personality. He's funny. He's creative to where he could be a face and still be a cocky son of a bitch and be awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm hoping he.
Yeah, and you can play that as long as you play it right.
Yeah.
And I don't know that they have, but they're going to.
But Ziggler, I trust
He's
that
smart.
They'll fill
he's
it out
smart.
right.
Yeah,
I think so.
This was, I think, the full-on baby face, because he kind of made that turn at Payback. They did kind of the double turn, but they
didn't know how to feel about it.
turn.
Yeah.
Dolph. This, I think, was the full babyface turn. So now we can fully go babyface with him.
So you think this will be the SummerSlam matchup now?
I think it should be, if we can keep that, but keep it with Del Rio. I mean, if you can get like a three-way or a triple threat, I don't want to lose Ziggler being in that title match to go to
That's
have
what
a feud
I wonder.
with Big E. So if we can, I don't know, somehow figure out how to keep it all tied together.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's not ADR Ziggler, they're going to have to come up with something quick.
Yeah, ADR, Ziggler, Big E, triple threat. I mean, that makes sense.
Of course, how is ADR this? Ziggler and Big E and AJ. This is such a passionate, emotional angle. How is ADR going to work his way in?
Does AJ she join forces with ADR? Does maybe ADR and then he moves into the Ziggler spot, not for a full-time thing, but just for this little feud to help out?
Yeah, I mean, without Ricardo, or maybe
because Ricardo's not there, so I mean,
could be back by SummerSlam. Who knows?
Right. I mean, there could be some deal made between Big E and ADR to beat up Dolph. I don't know.
I find that very interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with SmackDown to see.
I have
they
no
have a lot of
idea on
options.
this one.
They do have a lot of options.
Yeah.
But that segment, fantastic all the way through.
Yeah.
I mean, just AJ continuously. She's so
good match.
Yeah, great match. And when you have a performer like her, you can push the boundaries of creativity because whatever you give her as far as a writer, she's going to perform it. She's going to execute.
She'll push it up to an 11.
And all I could think of when she was beating him up was "Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned."
No.
Or like a Psycho Diva
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Especially when she's made out with half the roster.
Oh my God.
She's got
Seriously.
She's got an attitude. At least at least she did it on the show. I'm not going to mention a diva
instead of doing it in the back.
I'm not going to mention a former diva that was known to forget it. Any hoozles. R-Truth making his quarterly appearance. Coming down to the ring.
quarterly appearance.
I miss heel R-Truth when he came down.
Me too, man.
What was up with his hair tonight? He had the little twisties where
but it was all back.
It was like all it was. I've never
there was a
seen
hairline
his hair
issue.
like that. Yeah.
I love R-Truth no matter what he does, but man, he had that little run where he was the reason to tune into Raw. When he came down in the Confederate.
He'll always be the 3 Live Crew to me.
Oh, well. Then you obviously didn't hear him saying when Jimmy comes marching home. All
the little Jimmy stuff was funny.
Yeah. I forget if he was wearing a Union or a Confederate.
I think they were in Richmond. They were in Richmond that night or something.
Confederate.
That's what it was, yep.
He was black man wearing a Confederacy outfit.
Yeah.
But nonetheless.
They killed him with his face turn, too.
I know.
Yeah, they
because
should
all
have
that little
him.
Jimmy stuff was good. And the spiders.
Yeah.
The spiders.
I don't know. I don't know if they felt like they had reached the capacity of keeping that.
Yeah.
I don't know if something just, they felt like it had petered out or something. I don't know, but
you never know. But when he
stopped
came down,
grooving afterwards.
Yeah, and when he came down to the ring tonight, you almost knew that something was about to happen.
Something weird.
Yeah, and we got the full-on Truth song. Full-on rapped all the way down.
Last time? I haven't heard that in a long time.
Oh, man.
Yep. Maybe last quarter. I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah. The last fiscal quarter when R-Truth came out. So we had a feeling something was going to happen, and of course something does happen. We're here.
Yep.
And they come down, the Wyatt family.
Yeah, with I love the lantern.
Yeah.
But blowing out the LED light is a little cheap.
Well, come on. I mean,
and it's like, they obviously have, and I know they have a real lantern, but there could be possible issues with fire department and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, there's not much pyro left anymore.
No, and especially, pyro is something controlled as opposed to a worker walking down with a thing filled with fuel if it drops.
Suddenly it's in the ground.
Yeah, that's not a controlled thing. So
I don't know if you can give away enough free
issue,
T-shirts.
but that could be an issue for us.
A 7-year-old child wearing a John Cena shirt was badly burned in his right arm when the Wyatt family came down to the ring tonight. They have been demoted to NXT. But no, they came down, beat up Truth. Obviously, Kane was already injured by them. I think right now, I don't know how long this is going to continue. You wonder when they're going to have their first actual program.
I mean, I still think this is building to Kane, though. I mean, they said at the end, Kane followed the buzzards or something like that.
Well, we got Bray's first promo, which was really cool.
It was always great.
Where he said, there's no such thing as a hero. You people are addicted to the illusion of a hero. And he said, what else do we say? You need someone to put your head on your shoulder and tuck you in at night. And
oh yeah, they led with "You are not the truth we seek." That was my favorite line.
Oh yeah, the man who made you is a liar. He turned his back on you. I will never turn my back on you.
So he's trying to recruit R-Truth. Is that what you're saying?
No, he's almost recruiting the audience.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's almost he's almost talking to the audience about that. And then they beat up the Truth and say, "You are not the truth we seek." Kane, follow the buzzards.
This is how great Bray Wyatt, whatever you want to call him, is. I mean, he was Husky Harris, and then they allowed them time to develop an NXT. So one of your listeners last week actually put this on the YouTube page that in an interview, someone mentioned something about Husky Harris.
Yes.
And his response was
Husky Harris chants
last week.
Right. And he goes, Husky Harris is around. He is now my vessel.
Yes, which is brilliant. Brilliant.
That's how you do it.
Screw you, Marks.
Yeah,
that's what that
or like
was right there.
When Damien Sandow.
One thing we can right there just shut you all up.
And Damien Sandow shut up all the whats about a month ago. He was coming to the ring. They're all yelling, what? And he said something like, your inconsequential remarks mean nothing to me. And they all were like, huh? What? Like they didn't know what to say.
Come on.
And that's great. It's just fantastic. And the Wyatt family, I mean, the vignettes for them were fantastic. I just love, this is one of the best.
Well, they even tried to what him tonight, and he kind of moved the pacing of his speech around so that they couldn't interject any more what's in it. I mean, he's just a smart performer.
And who knew he had that in him when he was Husky Harris? I mean,
Lord, not me.
I
would not have guessed.
Now, you got to give him the benefit of the doubt. He's IRS's kid, but
yeah, but
doesn't mean he's going to be great with Mike.
I mean, he's the son of IRS, but the grandson of Blackjack Mulligan.
Yep.
And also the nephew of Kendall and Barry Windham, which just
talented.
Mentioned to one of our YouTube responders, he is named after Kendall, and someone wrote and said, I don't know if you know, but his grandfather's last name is Windham. I said, yes, I realize his grandfather's last name is Windham as well, but so is his uncle Barry Windham, which is who he was actually named after.
At least the watchers are very knowledgeable.
Yes.
And I'm the first one to admit, I bet half the people watching this might know more history than I do. So if I say something wrong, I admit it. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Because wrestling fans get pissed.
I say the wrong things all the time.
Yeah.
There was such a huge history.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean,
it really is.
Yeah.
Like when I remember something from like before 1990, I'm like, I do the Barry Windham. I'm like, good job, dude. Actually, your memory's not going too
You mean the Barry Horowitz.
I'm Barry Horowitz. See? You mentioned Barry Windham.
Yeah.
Barry Horowitz.
There you go.
Fantastic. Anyway, so the Wyatts keep crushing people, moving along. Next, we have the tag team we mentioned earlier, the Real Americans, Antonio Cesaro and Jack Swagger.
I love the Real Americans.
They're warming up to me a little bit.
I liked them on the show last night. They became baby faces last night for that one match.
Yeah, that's a good point.
They played the babyface role last night.
Well, it was weird because
which is cool.
Each Money in the Bank only had, it was like an all heel and then an all face Money in the Bank. So somebody had to have some give there.
That Cirque du Soleil thing they did last night was fantastic.
It was great, yeah, yeah. And when you have a match like that, the guys, and I don't know if the WWE kind of tried to design who would be kind of the baby faces in that, or they just naturally went to who the crowd went after, which usually that's what you try to do. They're so controlled. My guess is they probably tried to control that, but so I'd have no idea how they went that. But I love the fact that those guys played babies last night.
Yeah, and then tonight, back to being the old heels versus the Usos.
Can we talk about the app for a second?
Yeah.
Let's pretend it's Raw and talk about the app for a second. So the Usos won by 55% in the vote for now. Are these actual numbers? Like, how doctored are these numbers?
I think those are actually pretty real, yeah.
And do you think that's from them having a match on the pre-show last night? Or, I just don't think the Usos have a lot of fan base. So versus...
I think the last couple of weeks they've been pushing them a little bit, right?
I like the Usos. I never knew why. Like, I'm a massive Primetime Players fan. And I am
too, yeah.
I am constantly confused as to why they don't get... I get it. AW made a Kobe Bryant joke and he's gone. That's fair. But Titus O'Neil is hilarious.
Yeah.
And Darren Young, right, he's money. And Darren Young, okay, I get it. He can't really put a sentence together. But together, they're really funny.
Yeah.
Why can't they be credible? Why can't we get them? Maybe they're gonna. I don't know. But I give them credit for giving the Usos a push. It's about time.
It's almost weird with the tag division. It's like they were starting to build it up and build the primetime players, and then they took the titles and put them on Kane and Daniel Bryan for 9 months and killed the division again. And still were building up teams, but didn't have the title focused on them.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of the reason. I want to see them just truly focus on tag team wrestling again. They always say they're going to do it, but they have not done it.
They should take a lesson. TNA has a good tag team division. They have some really good teams that have come together. And in WWE, there's a few.
Yeah, and the tag matches we get in WWE are singles matches, 2 singles matches put together, one tag that happens. When I grew up watching it, you watch the Rockers, you watch the Rock and Roll Express, the Midnight Express,
Strike Force.
Strike Force,
Bulldogs,
tags in and out quickly. The baby face is working on the same part of the body, and the heels cut him down and cut the ring in half, and quickly tag in and out. You don't get those stories anymore.
And maybe part of it is maybe WWE doesn't think that tag teams can be entertaining outside of the ring, but they really can be. If guys look at on a local PP Ray, those guys, Peter Avalon and Ray Rosas, 2 of the most entertaining pro wrestlers you can find right here in SoCal. They're a great tag team. They crack people up and they're great in the ring. The Usos, if they had a chance to do it, the Real Americans, I hope they give them a run because they could do something.
Back in the 80s, back in the days of the territories, the main events used to be tag team matches all the time.
That's where your stars are born too. Like, I don't understand the thinking behind not having those come up and get some energy going to them and then break them up if you want.
And even like house shows back in the 80s, they would have like the main event Hulk Hogan on the house shows would not be the last match. You would have that. You would have your main event, and then the Rockers versus the British Bulldogs, the Rockers versus the Hart Foundation would then end the show.
And if you think about it, some of the best heel turns have been from tag teams.
Yeah.
So,
Shawn Michaels right there.
Dude,
oh man,
we're missing that fun, and I feel like.
Jannetty jumped through the window.
Yeah. Do you remember
when he was going to do that?
Do you remember? Yeah, Bobby. He don't need Jannetty. Right before he goes, say one without the other, it's just no good.
Favorite Bobby Heenan likes. He doesn't need Jannetty.
I could listen to Bobby Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon talk over anything in life, and I'd probably be a happy person.
Oh my God! One of my we digress here quickly, but when they're
our listeners and viewers enjoy it because they love some.
Get mad, But sitting there, they're in the by Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby Heenan by this beautiful pool, and Gorilla Monsoon starts to speak. Bobby Heenan goes, "Let me tell him where we are." He goes, "Where are we?" He goes, "We're at my beautiful palatial estate here in Beverly Hills." He goes, "Will you stop? We're at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas." Those 2 were money.
Just
They're
classic.
so good.
Completely classic. So we do support the tag team division coming back, and that's why I'd like to think it's a matter of time. Just a little bit of tooling. Primetime Players could be, bam, every week a must-see.
Yeah.
And I really have faith in them. I just hope someone that makes decisions does.
I mean, think about that. Tons of Funk, the Usos, the Shield. We've got some good tag teams that are up and coming.
You have 3 hours.
Yeah.
Pull it together.
Build it up.
You can't find some time for a great tag team division in 3 hours.
That's a great point.
Come on.
3 hours on Raw, plus 2 hours of SmackDown, plus an hour of main event, an hour in NXT, an hour of Superstars.
You have 47 days in a month. Is what it sounds like to me.
8 hours of programming a week.
They have more hours. I wish I had all the time in the world to watch wrestling, and I can't. I don't have time to watch everything. That's how much time they have on TV.
They have 8 hours. Then you got TNA with another 2. Then you got Ring of Honor with another 1. Plus all the. I mean, there's so much wrestling you can watch. It's crazy.
Absolutely. I mean,
keep up with it.
There's a lot of tag team potential out there, and that's what we support. So hopefully,
an hour of championship wrestling from Hollywood every week.
Yep, damn right. Fun show. I'm happy to be doing those interviews. Bam. All right, so moving on, we have Christian taking on Damien Sandow. Sandow comes out with the briefcase. We're like, yep, it's time for that Sandow push. He ain't losing tonight.
Or
I could be this could be okay though. Sandow can't win. He's got this money in the bank, but he's losing every match, and then he cashes it in and he wins the title. And then he's losing DQs. He's losing every match, but it gets you frustrated that you want to watch this guy lose.
And you brought up a good point to where maybe he's going to go on like this crazy losing streak, but he still has the briefcase, and that'll be his big win.
Yeah,
to be honest,
and he gets the win, and then you keep having him lose as the champion.
Yeah, I like that angle. And honestly, Christian needed the win more than Sandow did today. I feel
Sandow.
Absolutely.
Him and Rhodes, I don't think have won a match in 3 months yet.
No.
They're still so believable. And then, of course, speaking of which, Christian rolls him up, gets the win. But, Sandow gets on the microphone. I still have the briefcase. I'm your intellectual savior. And who comes from behind?
Nowhere. Boom. The place goes crazy.
I dig it.
They did.
Yeah.
One of the biggest pops of the night.
And they were behind Cody last night. Big time.
They really were, yeah.
Big time.
And finally not his mustache, just Cody.
I love Cody.
Cody's been,
I love
but
Cody.
man, he's really turned himself into a performer. I mean, always been great in the ring, but now, the last couple of years, especially this past 6 months, him and Sandow together, gold.
Yeah.
I really started to appreciate him when he had the face mask. Like around that time with the Ray, when he worked the program with Ray, I think that he started to really show his true colors as a performer.
And speaking of gold, I think he's going to outdo his brother Goldust.
As far as characters?
Just for anything, as far as where he gets elevates himself when it's all said and done. When you look at their careers, I think Cody will have had a greater career than Goldust. When it's all said and done,
that's fair.
I think he'll be a world champion.
He's got a long way to go.
He probably will last longer.
I think he's got main event potential.
He's a young guy. Knock on wood, he stayed healthy, and hopefully he still does. I mean, Goldust has given us some classic moments.
Of course,
one of the best.
He was not a main event guy.
No, but man, is he great for a segment, a backstage segment.
Oh yeah. I mean, him and Booker T alone was like, I would watch that again right this very second.
Oh yeah. And then when he got Tourette's, I mean.
Was that from being electrocuted? Is that what that was from?
Yeah, it was something.
I think it was. Yeah.
It was a stutter.
It was a stutter that actually worked.
But he got it. Dustin Reynolds, he got what his character was, and guys like that are what make things great. And like wrestling fans appreciate that when you know. Not to quote The Rock, but like when you know your role, that's a good thing. Like you can make everything better when you know your role, which is kind of my problem with Cena half the time because I feel like Cena just ruined Mark Henry by making him tap out. And I'm not a Cena hater. I just feel like he really. I know Hogan used to get flack for this in the 80s by putting himself over nonstop, but he's also the flagship. I get it.
But it's also a guy named Vince McMahon that's putting him over and making those decisions at the end of it.
And like I said,
I'm going to go over.
The last thing I'm going to do is question decisions made by them. It's their company. Like I still watch every week. That's why there's a lot of people that complain on the internet. There's a lot of angry fans. Bottom line is we're still all watching, so we still enjoy what we're seeing, and I do. But every now and then you're like, I don't really get that.
I do think this is Cena's year.
I think we could do better.
Cena spent so much of last year losing, though, that this has to be kind of his year. So if it's making Mark tap out, and if it's winning the Royal Rumble and beating The Rock, I get it. I get it for this ride for this year.
And that's okay. And that's the very final segment we will get to. But of course, after Cody attacks Sandow, that's going to be a very interesting SummerSlam match. I think.
Oh yeah. Could we get possibly a new manager for Cody? Is Dusty a possibility to come in and give a good rub to his son?
Does he need one though?
I'd like to see him do it on his own.
If they want a really strong face turn, though, I think it might take something like that.
But usually the reason for a manager is because someone can't talk or because they're missing something. I don't know that Cody's missing. I'd like to see Cody be given a shot on his own.
Well, maybe it's not a manager. Maybe just a little moral support then.
I mean, maybe you can stick out Dad out there for a match or for a program or something to help him get started, and then
I do think that maybe the briefcase might be on the line at SummerSlam.
I think that could be a
great match because they work so well together. That is going to be a match that whoo,
I'd love to see that Cody win and then Cody cash in.
That match, I don't care who wins. I just want to see it. Those two building it up together.
I love both of them. Sandow, I think, is one of the best storytellers right now.
Absolutely.
As far as coming up with a story in the match that's interesting and different, and he's phenomenal.
For all the people that criticized him when he first came out, like, it's just Lanny Poffo. No, he's created his own character, and it's really good.
Yeah. And you're welcome.
And you're welcome. Thank you, Dale. Moving on, next match, we had Naomi beating Brie Bella. Naomi's fantastic. She had a couple amazing moves.
Love Naomi.
Yeah, beautiful sunset flip where she got a huge height.
My prediction, the next Divas champion after AJ Lee. I might be wrong.
definitely will have it sometime. I think
AJ's going to hang on to it for a while.
But Naomi's definitely going to get that at some point.
Yep.
She did this beautiful flipping clothesline, and then the finish with that high cross body off the top rope.
Oh, man.
Kofi-esque.
It was Kofi-esque.
I think Kofi's the only other person in the WWE that can do that as nice as well as she can.
Incredible athlete.
She does better than Jericho's. Jericho hits that. I mean, Jericho hits it beautifully, but she gets so much.
She's got
height.
springs, man.
Oh my Lord! Yeah.
I know where she keeps them too. I think.
Yeah, you know that. Yeah, I kind of feel bad for Cameron because unfortunately she is just not the performer that Naomi is.
I wouldn't feel that bad for her. She's got a pretty good job.
She does. Which is the one that got the DUI?
I think her job. That was Cameron.
I think it was Cameron.
Okay, so she's very lucky.
She was the first person cut on the last Tough Enough.
Okay, I remember that, but I know she got
because
the DUI.
She kept running with her pants, and when she'd hold her pants up.
Right, but but I know she got the DUI and tried to bribe the cop. So I was shocked she wasn't fired. So you're right. She's very happy.
She lied about who she worked for, I believe, is what it was, and then went on a European tour afterwards and didn't tell anybody.
Oh.
Yeah, it was like this whole situation.
So you're right. She is very happy she has a job because, for all intents and purposes, that company usually does not put up with that.
No.
So
yeah.
But
even though one of the Real Americans had a similar situation recently, so
it's safer to drive stoned. Anyways,
statistically, that is true.
Great performance by Naomi. Shout out to her. Moving on to segment 3.
Oh, we forgot there was a vote for Vicky petition happening.
Yes.
That's right. There was.
She was petitioning for a reinstatement,
getting some signatures and everything.
Yeah.
I definitely would like to see her. I don't know. Everybody's talking about her in Ryback, I guess, but just get her doing anything. I don't care.
You have
just
to
keep her on TV.
Vicky's a good performer, man.
2 words gets more heat than anybody in the entire roster.
Dude, she gets me nervous sometimes. When she was flipping out this week, I was like literally nervous she might have a stroke. Like she was that passionate.
Yep.
You don't get that very often.
Yeah.
She was on it, man.
Ric Flair is the one that I always get worried about. It's going to have
Especially
a stroke
now.
when he starts flipping out.
You can
and his
see
face
that
gets all
vein.
red. Oh my god!
But you know what though? Honestly, Ric Flair's always giving it 100%. And when you got 4 ex-wives to pay off, you got to do it. Speaking of females, one of our viewers actually just mentioned that next week on NXT we have Paige versus Emma, the winners of first ever NXT Women's Champion.
Yeah,
that's going to be good time.
Paige is Emma's okay. I'm not a huge fan, but she's all right. But she's got potential.
Paige is a star.
Paige is.
As I think Summer Rae is also a star.
Paige is better. Like I've watched her a bunch of her matches. She's better than most of the girls on the roster right now.
But I think they're being patient. They're waiting. It's like they're patient with the Wyatt family. To Triple H's credit, I love the fact that he is.
They're not rushing her in.
Right. I'm assuming this is a Triple H thing that he's giving more people more time to develop, and that's great because you need that.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be great to watch. NXT's been fantastic.
Yeah, I'm looking very forward to Paige. And then Bailey is an interesting character down there. They've got some girls that are interesting down there.
And they got a bunch of new ones
that can wrestle too.
Yep. So moving on to segment 3, Cult of Personality hits. CM Punk comes out. He looks none too pleased, wearing the hoodie.
Dour, very dour mood.
No, very dour. That's a great description. Before he even says a word. Actually, no, he does. He calls out Brock and Heyman. Heyman comes out and cuts. Every week
How
I'm
long
like,
did he talk? This is like 10 minutes long, right?
Yeah.
But worth it.
There's no way there was a prompter there. It's like every week I'm like, I don't know if Heyman can top himself, and yet he manages to do it.
Yeah.
This promo was in the moment. It was sharp. It was cutting. And then Punk came right back and gave it to him.
Yeah, both these guys. I mean, probably the best 2 promo guys on the entire roster.
Yep.
These 2 guys, which was so cool when they were together because you had. I loved the idea of having this champion because usually you have a great promo manager with the champion because the champion can't talk.
Yep.
That's why Brock was always with. Why Heyman was always with Brock. But Punk is such an amazing talker, and when Heyman was there to talk behind him, Punk would talk, and then Heyman would. You're like, oh my god, it's amazing.
Everyone can learn by watching these 2, especially
now
Heyman.
head to head. This is phenomenal.
It's going to be great, and you can.
It was phenomenal. Just the war of words tonight.
Just a great segment. I mean, when you watch Heyman, anyone who loves watching movies or TV or acting, you can see he has thoughts. He's not reading lines.
And Punk too.
They both do. They have thoughts in their brain that are coming up, and Heyman is so like devious. Man, he's so great.
Yeah, and I mean, you talked about acting and stuff. It's those guys are really good about processing what's being told to them and not just waiting to say their line
in the moment.
Yeah, so they're actually listening to what the person is saying and then responding to that, not just waiting. Oh, he finished talking. Now it's my turn.
Yep.
And that's what comes off with those two. They're amazing.
Classic segment. I mean, you know, basically Heyman says, without him, there is no best in the world because he stuck up for him back in 2005.
The best, though, in the beginning when he said, I look out there and I see an empty ring because you don't exist in my world. Ooh.
Yeah. Yep. A lot can change in 24 hours.
Yeah.
He's you think I'm bad in business? Wait till you see how I get personal.
Oh yeah, which it's such a great point because you know Paul Heyman, everyone he's got a history, and when he came out and said all those things, I even said to you guys, I'm like, he's got a point.
Right.
Like everything he's saying was really, you know. 2005, WWE really didn't have a plan for CM Punk, and Heyman, you saw it in the Punk DVD.
Totally.
Heyman went to bat for him, and the best decision that WWE ever didn't make was allowing Heyman to, you know, and I think that really CM Punk becoming a star, I feel like helped so many other guys because it makes everyone at the top is like, oh, maybe we don't always know everything.
Yeah. Let's just look at who's in development right now and who's just been signed. Samurai Del Sol was just signed and is out there. Sammy Callahan,
Sean Ricker,
bunch of indie guys, big names have just recently been signed down there. That would not have been happening if we didn't have Daniel Bryan and CM Punk and these guys who have changed the way things have been done.
And the fans love these guys, and that's what it's about.
Because McMahon used to say, I mean, I remember someone talking like years ago asking Stephanie McMahon about different names of people that were in development, and they said CM Punk's just like king of the indies, you know, and it was almost like a disrespectful thing.
Right.
Of course.
And Daniel Bryan always too small. These guys will never make money. It's a different era now.
Yeah,
it's a different world.
Would Sammy even be called up, you know, at his side? I mean, he's not a huge dude.
Sammy Callahan?
Yeah.
He's just crazy.
Generico's another one that's down there. Generico. Pac, Adrian Neville, they're all there. And, you know, I've talked about before, I think it's kind of a cultural thing. Vince is always like, oh, the big guys.
Right.
But if we look at comic books and what are the more popular comic books have changed over the years, you have the DCs, which are the big super
the gods,
larger than life
basically.
gods that were very popular. But then over the last couple of years, kind of the Spider-Mans and the smaller, more flawed characters that we can relate to have become the big box office thing. So I think that's why people can relate to these smaller wrestlers.
People want to relate to someone that they think, oh, maybe that could be me. You look at a guy like Daniel Bryan. He came in, they didn't know what to do with him. Daniel Bryan, like you mentioned, you go, how many guys are kicking themselves in the pants that they didn't come up with yes, yes, yes?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Daniel Bryan, he not only did he bust his ass for 10 years, but he's a regular human being. He's a regular person, and he's the guy you want to root for, whether he's being a good guy or a bad guy. He transcends that.
Right.
And so did Punk. I mean, the stuff Punk used to do is it was revolutionary. You know, like he knew that he was going to take things over.
Right.
You know?
And it's a different world now. Like when I grew up, we wanted to see the wrestlers that a guy you would never see in real life. You know, these larger than life characters, guys that I would never see that are almost mythical. And now we want to see guys that we can relate to. We want to see guys like the guy. It's cool to see the guy that's almost sitting next to you. I mean, you don't want to see the guy that just looks like the guy sitting next to you. But the stature, the size. Oh, that could be me. I could do that.
And then you watch him in the ring. You're like, I can't do that. But nonetheless,
nonetheless,
if I stood next to him in a suit, we could be brothers.
If you go to some wrestling schools, there's a bunch of guys who think they can do that.
Exactly. Exactly. But you know what? Got a dream.
Absolutely, got to start somewhere.
Exactly. So that was just a fantastic segment. You know, Punk said he sweared on Paul's children that he would get him, and then of course,
and anybody who was involved in it.
Yes.
But not only that, anybody who helped plan it, anybody who enjoyed it, anybody who did anything, he is going after them.
And then to top it off, Heyman says, I only have one thing to tell you. You need to know what time it is. Drops the mic, gets on one knee, does the thing. It's clobbering time. Lesnar's music hits.
That's great.
The JJ's T-shirt comes out, and all hell breaks loose.
Gotta love Jimmy
destroys
John's.
Punk. Yeah, gotta love Jimmy John's. I'm sure. Yeah, that's his diet. Jimmy John just destroys Punk. I mean, Punk fights back, but just destroys him.
Yeah.
F5s him off the
table.
Yeah, it was ugly.
Yeah.
I get Punk credit. Less than 24 hours after getting 13 staples. Crazy.
Yeah. That guy is a workhorse.
It's going to be A really good SummerSlam.
Oh man, I'm chomping at the bit for that one.
SummerSlam.
Absolutely.
As awesome as Money in the Bank was, I think they're building up towards a great SummerSlam.
Yeah.
I don't even care what the September pay-per-view is. I will be happy with how great SummerSlam is going to be. So that was amazing. Back to Brad Maddox.
Or no, we had Cena and Khali briefly, remember?
Oh, yeah, well, sure. Yeah.
Which was, come on, man.
Cena knows Punjabi, great.
But Khali trying to talk, and it was so fun. Khali is comedy. I think they need to give Khali his own talk show.
I don't know if Khali's Punjabi.
Khali needs to have his own talk show. Where he has a desk, and he has guests, and nobody knows what he's saying.
Make it old school like Heenan used to have,
Yeah, like
right?
Heenan's thing.
Film it, you know, in Orlando, whatever. Just do a backstage talk show. That could be a weekly set. Oh, my God.
And you have people come in, and Khali's like, and ask him quietly.
Yeah,
I have no idea what you're saying. And Khali sings songs.
It would never get old.
It would be amazing.
And don't even give Khali direction. Like if he wants to look into the camera, let him.
Yeah,
he did today.
Yeah, he did. Let him do what he wants.
The weird, awkward moments where he forgets lines. That's the best stuff with him.
It's great.
Yeah.
That would be such a funny segment. I'm sure there's enough good wordplay out there. You can come up with a clever catchphrase or clever show name.
Yeah.
You know, Khali's Couch. Whatever.
Yeah. So
He's not doing anything
That was in the
else,
moment.
so.
It's not a good name. But yeah, that was a funny. And apparently, Cena knows Punjabi. He picked it up somewhere along the way.
we can have people Twitter us and tell us what they think Khali's talk show should be called.
I agree with Key. Khali and Sandow should have a segment that would be gold. By God, that would be amazing. So anyway,
Right, so now we're back to Brad Maddox.
back to Brad Maddox, everyone. Backstage, he walks into his office and Stephanie's on the phone, finishes her phone call. They start to talk, and she goes, "How's the show going?" He goes, "Well, I think it's pretty good." She goes, "I wasn't talking to you." And then who comes in?
The game.
Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Yeah, and so funny little go back and forth there, and it ends with, which I enjoyed this, Hunter going to Brad Maddox saying, "Hey, good luck in all your future endeavors tonight."
Yeah. Well, you know, it was. They were also asking him, saying, "Well, you know, hey, you just went off doing this, allowing Cena to pick his thing. That's pretty risky because this SummerSlam, it's our second biggest pay-per-view of the year. Very risky to let one of the superstars pick their own person, especially if he's going to pick the person we think he's going to pick. Because Vince doesn't, you know.
Yeah, I didn't know what they were going for. Then you explained it to me. I'm like, oh, well, I know he doesn't like.
And there was a promo a couple weeks ago with him talking about how he hates Daniel Bryan to Vicky, how he's small and he's not money and blah blah blah. You know, where
which that's real life coming out,
right? But where Triple H liked them and stuff. So Vince storyline wise does not like Daniel Bryan because he's small and weak.
I'll tell you, when it comes to stars over the past couple of years, Triple H 9, everyone else like 0. I mean, when it comes to guys, you know, that he's been supporting, like if he's behind Bryan, you know, obviously Vince is not. And
except for maybe Sin Cara, didn't he?
Point taken.
I was about to say,
sorry.
Not everybody. He's
Sin Cara's a -3. My bad.
Yeah.
My bad. But
I wanted to like him.
nonetheless, that segment was really cool about how they're bringing that to the light.
As soon as Del Sol gets up, they don't need Sin Cara anymore. that's the next Rey Mysterio is Samurai Del Sol.
Yeah. I love the fact that even though Sin Cara is clearly losing every match, they still have to dim the lights when he comes up.
Hey, he does get his lighting,
As far as I'm concerned, he should lose his lighting.
Yeah.
He's a failure. I mean, maybe not a complete failure. I shouldn't say that. He's not the main eventer they thought he was going to be. They thought he was going to be a giant star.
He's his own worst enemy, though.
I mean, he's a mid-carder, you know, at this point. But yeah.
I liked him best when Unico was actually wrestling as him. That was my favorite Sin Cara when it wasn't Sin Cara.
Way better than on a bicycle.
Oh.
Yeah. They had to go stereotypical with that one.
They love that.
But nonetheless, that was a fun segment to where, you know, I love the fact they're going to constantly keep Brad Maddox on edge every week to where he might just be relieving himself a little bit in his pants, like every week. Because Maddox plays that so well.
Yeah.
And they're and doing this like caught between the three McMahons thing, he's probably going to play that off super well.
Absolutely.
He's so good with that.
Vince doesn't even have to be there. He wasn't even there tonight. Yet Steph and Triple H did a good job of planting the seed of like
Vince's presence was there even though he was not.
Yeah. They're like, did you ask Vince?
Yeah. And I love how Triple H goes, well, why do you think you got hired? He goes, well, because I'm the right man for the job. He goes, nah, you were the guy standing there.
That was brilliant.
Well done.
That's how Vince just works. Ah, you're there.
Exactly.
So much truth in that.
Well done. But it's nonetheless, Brad Maddox is we have faith in him. It's gonna be a fun ride with him. Moving on to Jericho RVD. Damn.
Yeah.
That was a match.
First time 6 years. I couldn't believe it's been 6 years since we saw him on Raw. RVD.
Wow. Yeah, he left in 2007 and been with TNA for most of it.
So crazy.
Which a lot of people, he's talked about how that 45-second promo did more for him than the last 3 years over TNA. People keep going, oh, we're glad you're coming back to wrestling. He's like, I've been wrestling on Spike TV for 3 years, guys.
I know.
You don't have a remote or what?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's sad because, I mean, I watch everything. I enjoy watching.
TNA's got some
TNA.
good stuff. If you watch the Gale,
that ladder match.
I missed the ladder match. I haven't watched that yet. But
man,
it's worth going back to watch.
Yeah, the last knockout standing match they did with Gail Kim and Darren Terrell was phenomenal.
This took it to the next level.
Did it really?
Those two, I give them all the credit in the world.
Their women's division blows away WWE.
And the week before, Mickie James cut a killer promo not standing on top of the ladder, but going up in the ladder.
Oh, yes.
Cut a fantastic promo.
Yeah.
I mean, I watch it every week. And in my opinion, Austin Aries, best wrestler in the world.
Can you imagine if we had Gail and just take those two, let's take three. Victoria, Gail Kim, Mickie James, take the three of them, stick them back in the Devious division.
Not going to happen,
but no, I'm just talking hypothetically.
Yeah.
Throw them in there with the AJs, the Caitlins, the Naomis, these young girls coming up. You'd have a sick division with a couple girls, and you've got Natalya there now. Bring Beth Phoenix back as well.
Yep.
You'd have like 5 solid female veterans that could carry the younger girls, have amazing matches with the other veterans. You'd have a solid division.
Well, if you get rid of all those women, then TNA would have a female gut check every week.
Yeah.
Just trying to get. we need more knockouts. But nonetheless, I know we're talking WWE, but shout out to Taryn Terrell and Gail Kim. That was an incredible.
If you guys,
amazing match.
Go check that out.
But they were all in WWE at some point. I mean, this shows the point that they kind of squandered this talent. And just don't know how to work this usually. They can't figure out the women's decision.
Because they don't
make
care
decisions,
about the
sometimes they're
good
right.
Matches, they're window dressing to the WWE. They're not supposed to have amazing matches, which I think is the wrong way to go.
Well, I'll tell you what, AJ, Caitlin, and Naomi, wrestlers like that, I mean, they're trying.
They're trying.
And I think they're doing a great job. I mean, I'm invested in everything AJ and Caitlin are doing. The contract signing on SmackDown, perfect.
I mean, I've heard stories where, Shannon Ballard, who does SmackDown over here, who I've trained with extensively, has told us stories where when Christy Hemme was in the WWE, she came to him while she was there to train, and he's like, well, aren't they teaching you stuff out there? And she said, they just tell us to do this and that. We have no idea why we're doing what. They won't teach me.
Yeah.
So she went to get her own training while she was under contract.
Smart. You got to do that. You got to take the extra step.
But they wouldn't teach the girls the what she wanted to know, which is psychology, how to have a great match, why you're doing what when. So it's almost cutting the legs out from under.
And that's what separates, in any entertainment
it's
profession.
different down in NXT. Obviously, those girls are being trained. It's different on the road.
But that's how it is. Like whether it's wrestling or anything, if you really want to, that separates, the people that are in it to the people that are in it to win it. You know what I mean? You go for extra training. You put the money in if you have to. You put the time in. You don't squander an opportunity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Find people who are good to train you as well.
Damn
The most important thing is to get good training. But
back to RVD Jericho, just a fantastic match.
I mean, no surprise, I feel. I wonder how many times these guys have fought each other at this point. I bet it's hundreds or something. I bet it's
back then.
So many.
But it's been a while.
And neither one of them is aging. I mean, they both look.
Yeah, they both look great.
And they're so springy, and there's no wear and tear. It doesn't feel like. I mean, Jericho has avoided injury pretty much most of his career. I mean, he's had too many.
Well, he was almost done, and it was the DDP yoga that brought him back because he said he was having so many back problems that he was pretty much done. He started doing DDP yoga, and it completely rejuvenated him. So he only does DDP yoga now, and I don't know if RVD is on there. A lot of the guys are on it.
Oh, everyone! It's doing wonders for people. I mean, everyone's losing weight.
I guess you, as a physical therapy guy, know
it's fantastic. I mean, Gabriel Iglesias has lost 100 pounds doing it. I know for a fact with and he's saving the life of Jake Roberts and Scott Hall. It's a fantastic thing. It really is, and everything that he's doing and. It's great because, I mean, DDP's 56 years old. Couldn't tell by looking at him.
No. And we've had him in here before. It's that stuff is amazing. He came in here, strapped a heart rate monitor onto him, and had his heart rate from 60 beats a minute to like 130 within like 15 seconds of doing his yoga. It was phenomenal to watch him do that. It was amazing to watch.
A lot of guys are doing it. It's very, very smart to do. I mean, because, in the profession of wrestling, your window could be very, very short. You got to do everything possible to extend that. And Jericho RVD, we can't say enough about this match. It ends with a 5-star frog splash. RVD getting the win. So many great things about this.
Such an awesome move too. No one hits that frog splash like he does.
Nope. So many great
things. The way he sells it, he hits it. It looks, it hurts him. It hurts his opponent. I love the way he does that.
It was, and that was a great final match of a fantastic Monday Night Raw. But of course, we still had one segment left, gentlemen. John Cena has to come out with all the superstars standing on the stage.
With the Brooklyn Brawler out there.
With the Brooklyn Brawler, who should have been mentioned.
How is that not mentioned?
I don't know.
I knew when you said, you were like, you said that. I'm like, of course they're going to mention the Brooklyn Brawler.
They missed a great laugh and a great pop by not mentioning. Maybe he forgot.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe.
He was in the front. We saw him pretty well.
He's next to Khali.
All he had to do was take 15 seconds. Oh, what about the Brooklyn Brawler?
Yeah.
Get a pop. Oh, okay.
He should have got up on Khali's shoulders.
I'd be like,
that would have been, right over here.
You looking at me?
But yeah, so Cena comes out. He has to make his decision. Then, of course, that's when the crowd goes bananas with the yes chants. And, of course, Cena has to draw it out. Like, what about this guy? What about this guy? What about, hey, what, Ryback, I see you breathing heavy.
I love when he, I guess, happy birthday, Heath Slater.
Right.
I love the fact they brought up 3MB.
Gotta love it.
I love the 3MB.
I feel like 3MB is not only winning us over. I feel like 3MB is winning over the WWE universe.
They're going to eventually. People are going to love 3MB.
Yeah.
Like at some point, 3MB is going to get really hot.
They're being patient. They're being patient.
Yeah.
They're going to get that push.
Somebody at some point, the audience is just going to get behind them.
Yeah, and they're going to skyrocket to the top of the triple tag team division. At some point.
They'll have that one match with the Shield, and
or they'll just win the tag titles and do Freebird rules.
That'd be cool.
Yeah,
that'd be really cool.
Which I never understood. Why did the Freebirds get special rules?
It's the Freebirds, dude. Michael Hayes can do what the hell he wants.
Obviously.
He still does. Have you seen him recently?
That is true.
That guy's acting just the same as he did 25 years ago.
With a lot more power.
Yeah. That's
a lot more stroke now.
Good point. Absolutely.
Heath Slater had that push, though. He was jobbing to, like, all the... Remember they were bringing in all the... It was like when Old School Raw came around, and he was kind of jobbing to, like, everybody they brought in there for a minute. So I don't know if he gets another... Because if 3MB gets a push, it would be something like that, where they were kind of like a jobbing push.
At some point,
I feel like 3MB might get one of those post-pay-per-view crazy crowd Monday moments.
Yeah.
They need to go back to doing those like behind VH1 behind the music things they were starting to do with them, and they kind of abandoned. We need to see more of that. And I still want my 3MB Rock Your Faces shirt.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah.
I mean, that's... Yeah, it was the final segment. Actually, I was surprised. I honestly thought Cena was going to go a different route than Bryan just to piss off the fans, but everyone's going, yes.
Yeah.
Then he shows Daniel Bryan. Then, of course, Bryan sneaks out from behind.
Yeah, we're like, where is Bryan? Like, is he out there? And when his music hit, I was expecting to see him come from the Titantron. He was just you couldn't see him because everyone's so tall.
And the crowd went
crazy.
Nuts.
Oh, man. I mean,
oh my God!
They'd already popped for him like 3 times in Cena's selection process, so it was nice to actually.
They must have been yesing. I bet you 10 minutes after the Raw went off the air.
And this is the reaction they wanted last week, when they had him on the ladder with the yeses, and they didn't get it because they kind of messed that up.
It's okay. I think it was better this week.
Oh, so much better. I mean, it was hot this week with him in Cena's face,
right in his face, and they go into the ropes and everything, and it's a fun thing to do. Yes is a positive word, and so when this is a positive, it makes everyone feel good.
It does.
You're working the triceps, working the shoulders.
And you know what it's done? It's successfully gotten rid of what?
Yeah.
That's true.
What is gone because of that? It was that it comes around here and there.
Yeah,
it was around all the time for years with Stone Cold gone. Everything was what?
What I enjoy
this. Now it's yes. And it's around once in a while.
One of my good buddies, Adam Rank, who's he's a guest on my podcast, big wrestling fan, but he's one of the hosts on NFL Network. He was telling me at the NFL draft this past year, Paul Tagliabue. Every time he would go to the podium to say something, the New York crowd kept going, what? Oh. And he told me, he goes, Rich Eisen goes, what the hell are these guys doing? Rank goes, that's a wrestling thing. Don't worry. Eisen's like, whatever. He's like, look, these people chose to watch a draft live. Let them say their whats. So when what shows up in situations like that, I think it's fantastic.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, but I agree with you. Yes, it does make you feel good. I actually did an episode of Wipeout not too long ago.
All right, how'd it go?
All right.
Okay, well.
It's a real pain. But I was the WrestleManiac was my character, and I actually ran out to the course doing the yes.
Oh,
yes.
Nice.
Best thing I could have done.
Did it go on air?
Yeah, but I had to watch it to remember it because it was pretty horrific. But it does make you feel good.
Did you get concussed?
I didn't get concussed, but like 4 people had the paramedics called. I mean, some guy dislocated his shoulder. I went last, so I got to see everybody come back in like tears or broken. And I was like, oh, this is gonna go great.
That's such a brilliant show for financial reasons. They're like, let's see, how can we get people to almost kill themselves for no money and us get great ratings? Let's do a Japanese game show with white people that are broke.
Here, just sign this waiver here saying that we don't owe you anything if we kill you.
That literally, you sign away your life. You literally do. But they let me wear a WWE title around my safety vest. So
it's crazy the things you sign when you work in television. I have signed documents that say I agree that I will go to prison if on game shows, if you are part of helping, you can't fix a game show.
Sure.
So when you are on set on any sort of game show or any sort of competition where there's money, there is literally someone from the government there watching, making sure that that everything's on the up and up, that everything's even, and you have to sign a thing saying you can do prison time if you assist someone in cheating.
Hey, good luck tonight. But first, meet Big Brother.
Yeah. Hey, you want to come work on this show? Just sign this thing that says we'll throw you in jail for 5 years if you cheat.
And they show you a picture of your cell. This is waiting if you screw us over.
Just sign it.
Guys, it's almost time for the show to end, I think. This is zoomed by.
I don't like that.
So, Clum, you're the general manager. How do we close out every show? You tell us. You tell Dale.
You're the host.
Well, I am the host of the show. Is there anything we need to talk about? I mean, as far as
we can do our plugs.
Got to put ourselves over, I guess, right?
Ourselves over. We have a couple minutes, so we can do that.
Okay.
So you can see me coming up this weekend at the Pappy Pineda Dome, Friday the 19th. I will be taking on Willie Mack, local star who's wrestled all over the place.
All right.
Also, we'll have Joey Ryan facing Ray Rosas. So come out the Pappy Pineda Dome Friday here in Huntington Park, California.
Beautiful.
That's awesome. You can catch me on Twitter at The Walking Dale. I have a YouTube show called Dishing on Movies. You can check it out there. And just hit me up in general.
Beautiful. I am at Jay Quasto on Twitter. Also, I'm the host of Access Live on Access TV. Every Monday through Thursday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, we go live on television. Channel 340 on DirecTV, or go to access.tv/subscribe. I don't know what the other channels are.
Is that formerly HDNet?
Formerly HDNet.
I was just watching.
Yeah.
You're on Access TV?
I'm hosting it every day. It's a lot of fun. It's live. It's hectic.
That.
It's a lot of fun. And other than that, what else? Go to SCSlamcast.com. It's my podcast. It's a lot of fun. We talk all types of fun stuff. So, anyways, that's it.
Yeah, I guess
Sounds good.
All right.
Awesome.
For Ryan Morals Clum and The Walking Dale on Twitter, I am Johnny the Quasso. Thanks for watching tonight. Cathy Kelley, Josh Padgett, we miss you both, but this has been a blast. Thank you for all the watchers on the chat room and all that stuff. We'll see you next week, everybody, on AfterBuzz TV.
Yeah.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.